So the testes, it is the male gonad and it is homologous with the ovary in the female. So it is the mobile organ and it lies each half of the scrotal sac. The function of the testes, that is the production of the spermatozoa and the secretion of the testosterone, or that is also called the dihydrotestosterone. It is the dihydrotestosterone or the testosterone. It is the male hormone which is responsible for the development and maintenance of the secondary sex characteristics of the maleness. Then shape and the measurement of the testes. So shape of the testes, that is the oval or ellipsoid in shape. Then the measurement. The length of the testes, that is 4 cm. The breadth is the 2.5 cm and the antero-posterior diameter, that is near about the 3 cm. Then the weight of the testes, that is near about 10 to 15 grams. Then the position of the testes. So for this we can see in this diagram, that is the position. So here, that is the testes, it should be suspended in the scrotum by the spermatic cord and it lies obliquely so that upper pole is tilted slightly forward and laterally, and the lower pole it goes backwards and medially. So here you can see that is the upper pole and the lower pole. Then the left testis, it is slightly lower level than the right because of the length of the left spermatic cord, it is longer than the right. So here, that is the right testis, it should be shows slightly lower. That is the shape of the scrotum. Then the external features of the testis. So testis, it have the two poles, that is the upper pole and this is the lower pole. Then the two borders, that is the anterior border and the posterior border, and two surfaces, that is this is the medial surface and this is the lateral surface. So let's see, that is the details of these features. So first, that is the both upper and the lower pole are convex and smooth. The anterior border, this one, this is, so the anterior border, it is rounded and completely covered by the tunica vaginalis, and the posterior border, this one, it is the straight and covered only partly by the tunica vaginalis. So here in the another diagram you can see, that is this violet color double layer, it is called the tunica vaginalis. So this one. So here you can see the tunica vaginalis. So that is the anterior border, it is totally covered by, that is the tunica vaginalis, and posterior border, this is partly covered by the tunica vaginalis. Then it provides the attachment of the epididymis. So here, that is the posterior border. On lateral aspect of the epididymis, it is separated from the testes by the extension of the cavity. So here, that is the cavity is present. So it is called the sinus of the epididymis. So this one, here that the gap is present. Then both medial and the lateral surfaces are smooth and slightly convex. Then a small oval body, so here, is often found to the upper pole of the testis. So it is called the appendix of the testis, and it is represent the remnant of the paramesonephric duct. So this one, that is the appendix of the testis. Then next to it, that is the covering of the testis. Then the covering of the testis. So here you can see, so there are the three coats covers that the testicles or the testes from superficial to deep. There are the three covering, that is the tunica vaginalis. So here second one, that is the tunica albuginea, this one, and third one, that is the tunica vasculosa. So let's see, that is the tunica vaginalis, that is the outermost layer of the testis. So it is a serous sac, here violet color you can see. that is the tunica vaginalis. So it is the serous sac representing the persistent lower portion of the processus vaginalis. So it is invaginated by the testes from behind. As a result, it present a parietal and the visceral layer. So here in this region you can see that is this is outermost layer, that is the parietal layer, and this is the inner layer, that is the visceral layer. So that is the parietal and the visceral layers with a potential cavity between them. So here you can see that is the cavity. Thus the tunica vaginalis is completely encloses the testes on front and the side. So here on the front side and on the posterior, then the lateral side, that is the tunica vaginalis, it should be present, and posteriorly that is very small part of the tunica vaginalis that should be present. Then the collection of the blood and the pus in the tunica vaginalis, it is called the hematocele or the pyocele. So here in this cavity, if that is the fluid is collected, or that is the pus is connected, or the blood is collected, so that is called the, if blood is collected, so that is called the hematocele, the pus is collected, so it is called the pyocele, and if that is the fluid is collected, so it is called the hydrocele. Then the next, the tunica albuginea, this one. So the tunica albuginea, it is the thick dense layer of the fibrous tissue enclosing the testes. So it is covered by the visceral layer of the tunica vaginalis. So this one, except where it is in direct contact with the epididymis. So this one. Then the tunica vasculosa. So tunica vasculosa, so this one innermost layer. So the tunica vasculosa, it is the innermost vascular layer of the testes and lining of the, and it should be form the lining of the lobules of the testes. So here you can see it should be forming that the lining of, that is the different lobules. So there are the lobules are present, so it should be also formed, that is the lining of the lobules. The structure of the testes. So testes that should be encloses a fibrous capsule that is called the tunica albuginea. So here that is the fibrous capsule forming the tunica albuginea layer. Posteriorly, the tunica albuginea, it is thickened to form a incomplete vertical septum. So this one. So it is called the mediastinum testis. So this one. The numerous incomplete fibrous septa are extended from the mediastinum to the inner aspect of tunica albuginea. So this one. And it should be divided the interior of testes into 200 to 300 lobules. So these are the lobules. Each lobule, it consists of the 2 to 4 coiled seminiferous tubule. So here you can see that is the seminiferous tubule. These are the coiled structure. And this seminiferous tubule, it is lined by a thick multi-layered germinal epithelium that produces the spermatozoa. A thin thread-like loop of seminiferous tubule join each other and become a strata. So here it can forming that the straight as they passes towards to that the mediastinum, forming a straight tubule. So this one. The straight seminiferous tubule do not produce the spermatozoa, but it discharge the spermatozoa into the network of the channels called the rete testis. So here you can see these are the rete testis. Then small efferent ductules. So this one, that is the efferent ductule. So small efferent ductules connects the channel of the rete testis to the upper end of the epididymis. So here that is the epididymis and this is the upper end, that is the efferent ductules, it should be open. The interstitial cells which produce the male sex hormone lie in the areolar tissue between that the seminiferous tubule. Then the number of lobules present in the testis, that is near about 2 to 300 in numbers, and the number of seminiferous tubule in each lobule, that is near about 2 to 4 in numbers. The length of each seminiferous tubule, that the curve structure, it is near about the 60 centimeter. Thus, if all the seminiferous tubule are joined together, their overall length becomes averagely the 50 meters. After then, let's see that is the arterial supply of the testis. So, the arterial supply of the testis, that is occurs by the testicular artery, which is the direct branch of the abdominal aorta at the level of L2 vertebra. So here, then this testicular artery, it passes downwards and laterally and enters into that the deep inguinal ring. So here you can see, and enters into that the spermatic cord. Then at the posterior border of the testis, it is divided into that is the number of small branches. That is the two are the large, that is the medial and the lateral. Then the medial and lateral branches pierce the tunica albuginea and ramify on the surface of the lobule of testis to form the tunica vasculosa. Then the venous drainage. So here you can see that is the venous drainage. So the pampiniform plexus, so this one, the pampiniform plexus of the veins drains the venous blood from the testes. So this one, this plexus ascends upward at the superficial inguinal ring and condenses to form the 4 veins. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So on the both side, which passes through the inguinal canal within the spermatic cord and at the level of the deep inguinal ring. So at this layer, they join to form the 2 testicular vein, this one, which accompany the testicular artery. Then the right side, the testicular vein drains into the inferior vena cava directly, and on the left side it is drains into that the left renal vein. So this one. After then the lymphatic drainage. So the lymphatic drainage, the lymph vessels from the testes, it ascends along the testicular vessels in the spermatic cord and drain into the pre-aortic and the para-aortic lymph nodes. So here you can see at the level of the second lumbar vertebra or the L2 vertebra. So let's see that is the descent of the testis. So testis, it should be developed into the abdominal cavity where that is the temperature, it is very much high, and this high temperature, it is not suitable for the proper spermatogenesis. Hence the testis should be migrate out from the abdominal cavity to that the scrotum. So at the early stage of the intrauterine life, the developing testis lies into that the upper abdomen on the medial side of the mesonephron. So here, then the fold of the peritoneum called the processus vaginalis. So here that is the fold of peritoneum called the processus vaginalis. It extends in front of the testes and reaches to that the scrotum. Then just formation of the processus vaginalis, a cord-like fibromuscular band. So this one band called the gubernaculum testis. It develops and connects the mesonephric duct, this one, at the lower pole of the testis to the base of the scrotum. Then the differential body growth into that the embryo and fetus result in the descent of the testis from abdominal cavity to that the scrotum. So the each testis begins to descend during the second month of the intrauterine life. After then it reaches to the iliac fossa at the third month of the intrauterine life. Then it descends or travels into that the deep inguinal ring at 4 to 6 months, and where it should be rest. Then it travels the inguinal canal. So here you can see that is the inguinal canal. So it travels inguinal canal during the 7th month and reaches to the superficial inguinal ring by the 8th month of the intrauterine life. Then it enters into that the scrotum at the 9th month of the intrauterine life and reaches to that the base of the scrotum at or just after the birth. So here this is the gubernaculum testis, this is the tunica vaginalis, and this is the remnant of the processus vaginalis. Then the factors responsible for descent of the testes. So the differential growth of the body wall, increase the intra-abdominal pressure and the temperature, and the hormones, that is the male sex hormone produced by the testes and the maternal gonadotrophins. So these are the factors. Apart from this, the contraction of that the gubernaculum. So this one, or here you can see that is the contraction of that is the gubernaculum, this band or this band like structure, that is called the gubernaculum testis. Then the calcitonin gene related peptide, a neurotransmitter secreted by the genitofemoral nerve. So these are the factors which are responsible for the descent of the testes. Let's see the clinical or the applied anatomy related with the testes. So firstly we should have to see that is the congenital anomaly. So the first congenital anomaly, that is called the cryptorchidism. So in this condition, the testes during the descents throughout its travel of the normal path, but they are unable to reach into that the scrotum. That means at the base of the scrotum. So the testes may be observed or it may be found into that the abdomen or into that the deep inguinal ring, or that may be occur into that the inguinal canal, or that may be occurs into the superficial inguinal ring, or that may be occur high upper part of that the scrotum. So in that the 5 regions the testes may be observed, and as the testes it is not descend into that the scrotum, so it may occurs the complication, that is it may fail to produce the spermatozoa, and second one, it is prone to undergo the malignant changes. So that is the cryptorchidism. Then the next congenital anomaly, that is called the ectopic testes. So this one. So in this condition, the testes travels down along the abnormal path and therefore fail to reach into that the scrotum. So it may be observed into that the superficial fascia of the lower part of the abdomen. So here, or it may be observed in front of the pubis. So here, or it may be observed into that the perineum, or that may be observed into that the thigh. So this congenital anomaly, it is called the ectopic testes. Clinical point related with the testes, that is the hydrocele. So that is the collection of fluid in between the parietal and the visceral layer of the tunica vaginalis. So here that is the collection of fluid, and because of the collection of fluid into that the tunica vaginalis, it forming the inflammation into that the testes, as that is very close, this fluid is related with that the testicles. So that the fluid should be drained by passing the trocar cannula into that the sac of the tunica vaginalis. That means the skin, dartus muscle, then internal spermatic fascia, the cremaster fascia, the internal spermatic fascia, and that is the parietal layer of the tunica vaginalis. So throughout this, that is the fluid, it should be drained. Then the next clinical point, that is the varicocele. So the varicocele, it is produced by the dilatation of the pampiniform plexus. So here you can see that is the veins, network of the veins, that is called the pampiniform plexus. So it should be occurs due to the dilatation of the pampiniform plexus of the veins, and it is usually occurs on the left side, and possibility because the left testicular vein, it is longer than the right and enters the left renal vein at the right angle, and it is crossed by the colon, which may compresses it when it is loaded or due to that the constipation. Testes may be absent one or both side. So the test is absent on the one side, so it is called monoarchism, and the testis is absent on the both side of the scrotum, so it is called as the anorchism. The next clinical point, that is the tumors of the testes. So the two main varieties of the testicular tumor are observed. First, that is the seminoma. So seminoma, it is the carcinoma of the seminiferous tubule, and the teratoma, so that is the malignant changes in the totipont cells. So these are the two tumors that is very commonly occurs into that the testes. Then next to it, that is the clinical point, that is the torsion of the testes. So that is the torsion of the testes. So it is the clinical condition in which the rotation of the scrotum occurs around that the spermatic cord within the scrotum, and it is commonly affect the active young people and the children, and it is accompanied by the severe pain. So that is called the torsion of the testes. So the next clinical point, that is the hermaphroditism or the intersex. It is a condition in which the individual shows some features of the male and the some of the female. So in true hermaphroditism, both testes and the ovaries are present. So in pseudo hermaphroditism, the gonads is of one sex, while the external or the internal genitalia are of the opposite sex. So that is called the hermaphroditism.